Skill analysis of badminton and netball game. Firstly, we must look at what skill is. According to Ovens and Smith's 2006 journal, skill is in one sense or another the ability to coordinate our body in a competent manner in order to perform in game situations. We employ skill in order to solve situational problems that games present, thus requiring us to move with intention and intelligence. Now we have the definition of skill, we are able to look at its main components. There are 5 main parts to skill, these being technique, effectiveness of action, applications of tactics and strategy, perceptiveness of movement, and lastly, adaptability and creativity. The first part of skill is technique. Technique is the use of things such as grip, stance, swing, movement, and movement patterns in order to perform a competent and effective movement. In this clip, I show good technique, performing a smash. We can see I am side on to the net with my shoulders tilted backwards, allowing for a wider range of motion further into my swing. I then sequence my movements in order to create the most power into my swing while also being in control. The second major part of skill is effectiveness of action. Effectiveness of action is the ability to use technique or movements to efficiently and successfully achieve a desired outcome. This means, with a goal or action in mind, how efficient and well we achieve this goal defines the effectiveness of the action. Effectiveness of action is shown in this clip through the smash again. Although this is not a textbook smash due to the flight of the shuttle from my opponent, I use the shot to direct the shuttle towards the floor, not allowing my opponent a chance to return it in order to win the point. The third major part of skill is application of tactics and strategy. Tactics and strategy is our ability to make the right decisions and carry out necessary movements as the game unfolds. The flow of these movements, which make up play, are scripted purposefully to increase the chances of achieving the desired outcome, with more skilled players having a greater ability to implement appropriate strategies or tactics in order to gain an advantage. In this video, I showed good use of strategy. I served the shuttle to the far backhand side of my opponent in order to place him out of position. I then quickly cross-court flick his return to the opposite side of the court, not allowing him to get near the shuttle. This shows strategy as I purposely move my opponent to one side of the court in order to have an easy put away, keeping the rally short. The fourth major part of skill is perceptiveness of movement. Perceptiveness of movement is the ability to read play through perceiving or interpreting environmental cues. Essentially, it is reading your opponent's movements or bodily cues in order to interpret their next move or your own more quickly, thus allowing you more time to implement your game plan. In this clip, I use counter drops to demonstrate my use of perceptiveness of movement. It starts when I pull my opponent hastily forward with my first drop shot, as I instinctively know he will be moving slightly in the opposite direction to get to the middle of the court. I then perceive his counter drop quickly, where again I understand that he will be moving back to the middle of the court, allowing me to counter drop again with a high chance of catching him off balance. The last major part of skill is adaptability and creativity. Adaptability and creativity is the ability to adapt to a changing environment in order to create the best possible outcomes. It requires us to recognize that games create unique situations which call for us to have flexibility in order to create successful plays. In this clip, I demonstrate great adaptability. I show this when my opponent performs a smash. I do not percept his shot well, meaning I react late. In order to get the shuttle back, I play a reactive shot, which is behind me. Just being able to get the shuttle back into play meant my opponent had to play one more shot, which he miscues, giving me the point. During games, there is always times when our skill can be poor, due to one of the 5 major parts not being executed to the best of our ability. For instance, in this clip, I show poor technique and effectiveness of action. I try to deceive my opponent with my eyes using a head fake in order to execute a cross-court flick. In doing so, I take my eyes off the shuttle, resulting in me making poor connection and losing the point. This shows poor technique and effectiveness of action, as I do not time my fake with my movement of my swing. That concludes my skill analysis using badminton. Thank you.